Yes, yes. Hey, hello, hi. I'm always looking at the wrong spot in the camera. I don't really like looking at the camera. I like looking at me. I like looking at me. Okay. So, I mean, not that I'm like vain or anything, but this is my version of eye contact. So, I'm sorry if you hate it. I have to go back and look at well, I look at my videos all the time, and this is just normal for me. So this is not normal for me. Do you like it? Let me know if this is better. And I'll try. I feel like I'm not I'm not seeing the action. I'm missing stuff. What if I get like, and I don't see it until the end of the video because I'm up here looking at you when I need to be looking at me. Anyway, I'm gonna work on that. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm gonna work on it. Um, it's been crazy. It's been crazy in the city. So the beginning of summer is like what, a little over a week old right now. A little over a week old, and it has rained like 4 times, maybe five, and I'm talking about deluge. I'm talking about like rain, like. So I've been dealing with that. It's been hot. It's been hot. It's been so hot in Chicago. And I don't know if I got like something going on with my AC or something, but I had to go get a fan. It was a whole thing. Like, it's hot. So it's hot, it's wet and rainy. And the wet and rainy is not like it's like global warming wet and rainy. Um yeah, so I've been having to deal with like some flooding. Like, is it flooding? Is it not flooding? I had to have somebody come out and find out if it's flooding. Like, do I have problems, or do I just have little cleanup problems? Like, so I haven't been making my videos. I haven't been making my videos. It's been too much. It's been too hot to put clothes on. Gotta put clothes on to make a video. That gotta um yeah. But I have been reading, and I also I also got started moving furniture because of like everything was wet, and like had to dry things out and move things around. So I started bringing my bookcases up to this floor, which I've been wanting to do. And you see my little flowers back there? My little flowers back there are budding. I'm so excited about that. I've never had like a plant live. Like, yeah, like live sustained a sustained period of time. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, that's I'm doing something different. Well, I mean, I'm learning and I'm doing better. Plus, with all the humidity, oh my gosh, the plants are thriving inside and outside. If you're like driving around the city, you see it's the forest is foresting, like the the plants is reaching out and trying to touch people. It's a lot going on. But my son cut the grass, and I was happy about that. Um, so yeah, I forgot where I was when I started mentioning the plants. I mean, but yeah, I bought my bookcases up, upstairs, and I was like, oh, you know what I'll do? I will separate the fiction from the nonfiction because I have a lot of nonfiction, and that's part of the reason why I want to like kind of get some of this stuff out of here, because I feel like the nonfiction does take up a lot of space, and there's no way that I want all this nonfiction. So I'm trying to like, that's why I'm just trying to read everything and get it put where it needs to go, whether that is out of here or on the fiction shelf or the nonfiction shelf. So I have been reading. And I also thought I would show you my June recap. I got this microphone thing, and I should have went with the little clip on, because how am I gonna show you this with only one hand? So my June recap. This is how my spreads look. I, I write the name of the I write the name of the book on the day that I start reading it, and I try to um, and then page. Um, there's a recap page a little bit later. Those are like the two spreads that I use the most. Here's another one. I try to put a lot of stickers and stuff. Just some cute shit. Um, I was excited because I filled in all of these for um this challenge, but in June I read 9 books. Wait, let me go to my yes. In June I read 9 books for a total of 4,800 minutes listened to. And technically 1646 pages read, but I think next month I'm gonna this month the I kept the the reading pages and the total minutes listened, because I immersive read them. But I don't know if I'll do either or next time. I might split it up. I'm not sure yet. But the top books of the month were August Lane and The Vanishing Half. The worst book of the month was The Seven Daughters of Dupree. Yeah. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I got. That's what I got. Um, oh, I read 3 nonfiction books, a thriller, a lit fic, two romances. What was the other romance? Oh, okay, yeah. And two historical fictions. And I also use Storygraph and Fable. I don't know. I just be tracking. So I probably won't do it. I probably won't keep doing it on in a book, but I don't know. It depends. What I am gonna keep doing is journaling and writing my thoughts about the books in my little book journal. This has been, yeah, I like these a lot. I gotta get my thoughts out. Gotta get my thoughts out. And it helps when I'm talking about them. So that's my June recap. The 9 books, let me go back. The 9 books were How We Get Free, Gone Before Goodbye, Luster, August Lane, Well Read Black Girl, Jay-Z Made in America, The Seven Daughters of Dupree, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, and The Vanishing Half. Okay. And this is the month where I decided to try to do my challenge where I read a book a day. And so that's how I got so many books in, because I kind of ramped up towards the end of the month. Now that we're well into July, we're like a week in. I am I'm averaging a book every 2 days. Is more like it, because yeah, it's not that. Well, some of the books are do kind of send me into a slump, and then it's not necessarily a bad thing, because like if I'm reacting negatively to the book, then okay, it might be sending me into a slump. But if I'm reacting positively to the book, I'm not necessarily in a slump, but I'm in awe, and I'm like stuck, like whoa, like thinking about the book for a few days. So either or, I'm kind of like, ooh, that sun is smacking the shit out of me. So either or, I'm like kind of stunned for a little bit. Yeah, so maybe a book every 2 days is, well, of course, is more reasonable. And also, I came to the conclusion that I was like, you know what I can do to also try to use up some of these credits is take like uncopyrighted material, like material that is like well beyond its copyright, period, and clip that up, especially if it has to do, like, particularly if it has to do with my books. And I apologize in advance if I'm messing with people's copyrighted material, but I also was thinking news clips would be a good idea because news is public anyway. So it's not like a lot of IP, intellectual property. They're just, current events. So I'm thinking that those might be safe clips too. So I've been dabbling in that, and you'll see some of those clips on my channel, um, here, coming up here. So it's cool. I'm down to 3,000 credits. That's good because when I started this, I was at like 3,300 credits, and I'm like, I'm you know troubleshooting, getting there. Check out my friends Beers and Bars. They have a great channel on this app as well. Check out Beers and Bars. Speaking of which, got the t-shirt on. And what else did I want to tell you all about? Oh, you know what? I messed up. I'm gonna have to go grab my other phone shortly. Let's talk about these books. So I I'm gonna talk about two books on this stream. The first one is called The Fire Next Time. It's not called The Fire Next Time. The Fire Next Time is this fire essay by James Baldwin. And I read The Fire Next Time probably in high school. And it was either high school or college. It was probably college actually. And it's the only piece of James, I'm getting sleepy, sorry. It's the only piece of James Brown's works, James Baldwin, James Baldwin's works that I have finished and read. But it was so impactful. Like The Fire Next Time, I was like, whoa. Like put his whole ass foot in this essay. I was like, goddamn, The Fire Next Time. And I never forgot it. I haven't gotten around to reading James Baldwin's other works, but um, yeah, that The Fire Next Time put a stamp on my memory for sure. And I was like, oh, I'll get around to reading the other pieces, and I'm also gonna reread The Fire Next Time because it's real short. It's a real short essay, letter, collection of letters, something like that. But I wanted to read this Jasmine Ward book, The Fire This Time. And I I wanted to read it because the title got my attention. Like, oh, we got a follow up going on, The Fire This Time. Um, it is a collection of essays and short stories from writers in the BLM era. So, and it was it was good. I am going to read it again because I was listening to it on audio, and yeah, the audio is just not vibing with some of these genres. Nonfiction is gonna be one of them because nonfiction, I'm just used to studying and taking notes, and that's not the point of me reading audiobooks. I'm reading audiobooks so that I can work, so that I can clean, so I can do things with my hands. I'm not reading audiobooks so that I can take, really deep dive into the material. So that's my bad. I need to pick better books. I need to pick better audiobooks and like just kind of stick to like the novels and the stories. But, you live and you learn. So I thought that the collection of essays was very good. Now, my qualm is that is this the fire this time? I'm not sure. I'm not because the fire next time it it felt like a sermon. It feels like a sermon, like hellfire is raining down upon you. Like I I would revisit both. I would love to revisit both because I really felt like there were some impactful pieces in the fire this time, and I really enjoyed them. Like I said, I want to reread them and just really get that whole nonfiction grip on what I read. But there were some pieces in the book, and I was like, what the hell is what is the topic? So that is kind of why I that's kind of why I felt like it fell a little short because like I said I was expecting fire next time level you know when I was reading this. So but I'm gonna revisit it and I'm gonna do it better justice because I'm just anal like that. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna um, sit down and and what else did I notice about this? Um, no, that was yeah. I wrote some of these essays were very timely, but not enough of them. So yeah, some of them I expected all of them to be fire next time level, like coming at people, but um, I'm gonna I'm gonna try again, and I hope you all don't get sick of me saying that because I be trying and I be trying again. It's life. The next book I read was The Color of Water by James McBride. McBride, say it right, James McBride, and I enjoyed James McBride's story along with his mother's. The time jumping was kind of throwing me off because again audio, and I'm not a fan of time jumping. Then every all these books involve time jumping. I'm getting used to it, but it's like jumping over here, over there. I'm like a traditional like story beginning, middle, end type of person. So the time jumping be like smacking me around. Um. Anyway, this time jumping wasn't that bad because clearly the mother has a story and the son has a story, so it's not really like that hard to not only were the times different, but I was listening to it on audio, so the voices were very different too. Shout out to the lady that read. Was it? Yeah, yeah. The lady that read his for his mom. Shout out to her because she held her shit 10 toes down. Like she did that. She did that audio. She did it well, and she was opposite Andre Brower. So she was the actress. She was an actress. She was acting, because Andre Brower was in there acting. Um, so definitely check out the audio. If you read Color of Water. So I usually don't do a lot with nonfiction, but I did have a lot of thoughts. Mainly because it's about parenting, and to me, it was about parenting. These days, everything to me is about damn parenting because we just are at like such a critical point, it's kind of like, man, who is raising people these days? Like, how were you raised? Like, what values were instilled? Like, how is it that you don't know this? How do you not know these things? And I'm not saying that I know all of these things. A lot of the stuff is, triggers me, or is triggering to me, because I was the person that became an adult and was like, what the hell? No one told me this. No one I didn't know how to do these things. And I'm like, damn, I was supposed to learn this stuff along the way. I wonder if it's because we're so far along in civilization. It's like, is there no way to teach the things that needs to be taught to the next generation, all of the things? Because it's like so many generations. Like, how do we learn from things that we should have learned from 3 generations ago? But then also, so many of us are dealing with single parenthood, single motherhood, single fatherhood. Well, hell, you can't, like, if you can't learn the things you were supposed to learn from older generations with 2 parents, then how can you possibly learn those things with 1 parent? So these are just thoughts. And it was their story is really riveting. The story is very, like, um it's very emotional. And I'm not that's not the word I want to use. What I'm trying to say is that the story was very harrowing. It was like, dang, I just um felt felt for these people. And you're reading about his mom. His mom is, I think technically she was a teenage mother, but she is so young when she, first of all, horrible family, horrible people, horrible people. That his mother's family that she was born into. So they had, strife, and there was a lot of fighting, violence. And she she broke away from the family. She broke away from the family. And it was like kind of a thing where she could not stay. Somebody would have gotten killed. So, and like I said, I think that she was technically a teenager. She was very young. And then, she got married, and she, quickly, because life happens quickly, she had 8 kids. And really, when the book starts out, she has 12 kids, because she later on had 4 more children, by another husband. Yeah, another husband. So that is just so many kids. So many kids at such a young age. And when you're listening to her telling her story, it's like, well, shit, she ain't had no damn time. She ain't had time. She didn't have time to talk to y'all and teach you all when there's 12 of you all. Y'all are running circles around that woman. And then, so let me look at some of my thoughts. I know I wrote right at the top. That's what made me introduce it like this, because right at the top I wrote, I'll be damned if I had 12 kids and them damn kids not cleaning. Ain't no way, because she talked about, like, cleaning and having an issue cleaning. And I was like, you have 12 children. Nobody was cooking. Nobody was cleaning. Like, baby, from the families I know, especially if you have that many kids, them kids are cooking at 7. They stirring pots. They making peanut butter and jelly. Okay, cleaning toilets. Yeah, you got to clean the toilets because you the little one. Like, large families have gotten through hard times because they distributed labor. That it may be taboo, it may be a little hard to hear, but that is traditionally how large families have the function of them. They were working farms. They were, tending cattle and livestock. So they were doing things at a very young age. It wasn't no I got 12 kids and I cook and clean and they go to school. Like, no. No, we all cooking and cleaning. There was another part. Another part where one of the kids was presenting. He was presenting at church, and he, man, he did a little he froze, and the pastor was like, "That's okay, that's okay. You can just say a Bible verse." And what Bible verse did he say? Jesus wept. Jesus wept, and I was like, Lord, like, I, I I have seen that happen many, many, many times when you just like, and it's not a criticism. Like, hey, we gonna do what we have to do. We remember that one. That if you don't know, Jesus wept is the shortest Bible verse in the entire Bible. Jesus wept. That's the verse, and what I wrote that down. First of all, I chuckled because nostalgia, but I wrote that down because up up until that point, like they had been talking about how these kids had so many questions that the mother would not answer. The mother wouldn't answer. It's like I don't understand how you can have kids and not want to answer their questions. That means like you don't want to deal with kids. And it's like they started this church. I'm not sure if this is before or after the church started, but it's like you the kids have questions. You don't want to answer the kids questions, and then you expect the kids to care about the things as much as you care about the things. No, you're going to have to answer their questions. You're going to have to make it make sense. You're going to have to, really instill in them the value of it is that you're trying to beat into their brain. But that's not how it works. You can't just beat religion into children's brains. Like, you have to nurture it and water it just like a plant, just like anything else that you want to grow. This You want to have them to have this love for Jesus. Of course, people have love for Jesus, but you want them to have love for the church, because really it's more like love for the church and participation in church that the kids are getting beat over. And it's because, like, okay, like, you're gonna have to answer their questions. You're gonna have to parent them and guide them and show them why what you're saying is what it is. Even if you do that, it's going to be more easier and more natural for the child to latch on to that idea. If you don't do it, they can still latch on to the idea, but I'm just saying it's easier if you answer the questions that the child has about that thing, because now you made it make sense. Okay, that's just an observation I had. So basically, I'm saying, like, that Bible verse that child was supposed to be, or that speech, that sermon that child was supposed to be able to was supposed to give, instead of cramming it and trying to cram it in the last 24 hours or so, that child may have believed it and really worked with that material and been able to recite that material if you had been the type of family, church family that answered that child's questions and made it make sense. That's all I'm saying. That was just one thing I noticed. this was a good story though. It was very compelling. I definitely wanted to know what was going to happen next. There was a part in the story where the son goes back and tries to find the family that, like, basically disowned his mother. That so yeah, yeah. But I it was little things that just made me feel like, man, this is not how you this is not how you foster, learning and curiosity. Unfortunately, yeah, because it was just so many times where the young man wanted answers and the adults refused to give it to him. Mm. There were some other. Oh, this book also kind of made me think about how, on that same vein, like, we as adults, we pour into children. It's a requirement, it's a necessity to build these good people, good children that are curious and willing to learn and be open and everything. And now in 2026, there are so few adults doing that it is difficult to be an adult that is doing it, because it's like it's like you're trying to it's like you're trying to move an ocean with a teaspoon. It's like it's overwhelming, and exhausting. You see, the teachers today are just spent. It's exhausting to pour into children when you get the sense that you're the only one pouring into the children. Like, the children need to be poured into by more than just one person. That's how it was. th- I'm not trying to compare generations, but, like, good relationships with children, good, like, healthy, is because they have a lot of people that are pouring into them and caring, and giving them gems along the way. It can't just be one person. It takes a village. Look at that. Imagine that. I wanted to go on a rant about putting plastic on your couches. Because I felt like it was an ignorant comment about, and no shade to this woman. She did amazing things. Kudos to her. Kudos to her for raising these kids. They turned out to be great kids. And what she did was brave and powerful. I'm glad that they told this story. There was just a part where she mentioned how she felt like it was goofy to cover up a couch with plastic. Girl, this is part of your problem. this is this is part of your problem. When people cover up their couches with that plastic, in case you didn't know, it is to preserve the couch. Okay? And it may seem silly, but I personally was a recipient of a couch that had lasted. That couch had to have been from the 70s. When I my son was born in 2010. So that was a 40-year-old couch. That couch was at least as old as I am right now. And that is the point. Is to preserve the furniture, because furniture is so expensive. You're spending so much money on these items. Is to preserve them so that they can be used through generations and possibly passed down. No shade, but I just had to say that it happened to me, and it's not ignorant at all. If luckily, couches are maybe not as relatively expensive as they used to be, but also we be cleaning our couches regularly. We have a lot more devices and stuff, and plastic hurts. It hurts our little knees. it hurts our skin. Like there's a lot of things wrong that with plastic, but I would never knock it because I was a benefactor of a plastic couch. Rest in peace, plastic couch, because my son tore that couch up. The last thing I want to say is that back to what I was saying about her family, her so-called family, and it's just it's just a testament to like how there are very bad people in this world. And I also felt like there was like a lot of not only were they bad to her and evil to her and her mother, but they also were not forgiving either. Like dang, like you know, y'all doubled down, doubled and tripled and quadrupled and septupled down on the trashiness. I digress. The last thing I want to do is tell you guys about is to give you a little. I want to I should just do another live, but no, I won't. I'm gonna go get my other phone because I'm gonna take the microphone with you. Baby, don't. I hope you don't mind. I have been participating. Okay, participating may be a little loose definition of what I've been doing, but I have been trying to participate in this booktube tag called Black Booktube is Reading, and so I wanted to officially. I'm back. I wanted to officially answer the Black Booktube is Reading questions. Where did I put them? I put them in my other phone. Okay. So yes, there I've seen this Black Booktube is Reading tag. I think it did it start June 1st? I'm not sure when it started. I don't think it started July 1st. I don't know. It's been a while, but the they creators are making a video a day, and it was around the time where I decided to read a book a day. So I was like, great, I can do this with the big dogs. But they had a list of questions, and so I was like, let me uh, get this list of questions so I can like officially try to answer the Black Booktube is Reading questions. What is that? Okay, so that's my window. Sorry. I probably shouldn't have waited till Lord. Okay. Until the sun was going. Oh, this is okay. Let me just use this light. Okay. Anyway, who am I? Where am I from? And what kind of books do I read? Okay. My name is Aisha. My name is Aisha. I am from Chicago. You knew that. And what kind of books do I read? I read all kinds of books. I read all kinds of books. Any books, I'm gonna look at it and then I'm gonna see if I'm gonna read it or not. But dang near, I will read anything. I love books. I started a book last night and it was a Y. I don't like YA books. I put it down like almost immediately. I was like, no. It was a little rough because it was about prison or going to prison, and I'm like, I'm obviously not one of them burn book girlies, but I'm like, I don't know who this book is for. Who this for? I don't know who this for, but it ain't for me. And yeah, TMI. What made you start a book channel? Okay, so this is I started a book channel because I've always liked reading. Reading has always been a good pastime, something that I can do when I want to distract from something else. Um, I can be goal oriented when very goal oriented when it comes to like reading and school and stuff like that. So I found myself alone single. I found myself single and alone. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just read. I used to like reading a lot. I'm just gonna read more because the amount of reading I used to do compared to the amount of reading I do now, it had plummeted so much. I was like, you know what? Let me pick up some books. Stop picking up these men's books. And yeah, I just wanted to rekindle that love. And I am also this is a huge goal. So that was like I want to read more. That was a little goal. Big goal. I'm trying to clean out my life. I got all these books, haven't read most of them, and I want them gone. I don't. If it's trash, get it out of here. Get it out of here. If it's nonfiction, I'm gonna put it over there. If it's fiction, I'm gonna put it over there. I want them to look cute. I don't like the rainbow bookshelves. No shade, no no tea, no shade. That y'all do you. I don't like the rainbow bookshelves because I want to find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it. So I'm not. I rather have the sections. Yeah, and I got a really cute bookshelf. So yeah, I'm trying to get rid of all these books that I don't want to look at, and I want to put books there that I want to look at and want to read and reread. Yeah, so that's why I was like, I'm just gonna turn the camera on because I'm talking about the books. Let me turn the camera on so I'm not talking to myself because I'm talking about the books. I'm talking about the characters. I do the same thing with TV and movies, but I don't take notes and yeah, and I don't watch. I feel like I don't watch what a lot of other people watch. So a lot of things that people are talking about, I don't, especially now, I don't really be watching those things. So I'm probably gonna incorporate that into my page, but let me just ease it on in there. I'm not gonna say what I'm about to say. I'll just ease it on in there. Right now, I'm doing this challenge with the like book a day, book every 2 days, and I'm not doing this again. I know I've said that already, but I'm not doing this again. So I'm gonna get through these next 40 days or so. Hopefully, 40. Hopefully, I have 40 days left, and then we'll see. Then we'll see. Like short form, long form. I also need to like get a really good long form strategy because I'm not trying to use up all this space on my phone. That's what I don't do. That's what I don't like. Okay. Next question. What genres do you think do I like? What genres do you think deserve more attention in Black literature? Okay, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Nonfiction. I know you didn't think I was gonna say that. I know you didn't. Nonfiction is dope. It's so dope, and I feel like it's people don't know that because um it's never been presented to us. Like right now in the schools they're doing this historical fiction thing where they have these very, I don't want to say robotic or formulaic books that like they're good books by like good writers and they're built around historic moments and historic movements historic eras, which is all good. But what I don't like is that's the whole curriculum. The whole curriculum is historical fiction, and it's like I'm like this is not the literature that I was reading. This is not the literature that we was reading in the 90s or in 2000s. Like we were reading books. We were reading books. Like the literature was so you you had a you just had an appreciation for what people were able to do with the language, for how people were able to move you with their words and their ideas. And I miss that part of reading fiction. I read some really good books in high school. Credit to my high school, credit to the International Baccalaureate program, um, because they had that space for teachers to choose impactful books, like impactful cultural books, and not just like books that took place during whatever you were studying in history class. That's what my son is doing, and I have been complaining about it to everyone who will listen, which is not very many people. So I've usually just been complaining about it to myself and to the wall because my son don't care, my parents don't believe me, the the people at the school are like, huh, like you didn't notice, like the English teacher agree with me. I will see, and that's to my credit because she was like, yeah, I noticed that this is not like literature, that this is not like classic literature or whatever. And I'm not saying that it's got to be classics, y'all. Just stop me out. Like what I'm saying is that the books, it feels very much like nonfiction wrapped up in a fictional wrapping paper. Like what is that? What does that mean? Where there's like the mask. There was a mask with lean on it, and then they opened up the mask and it was heroin. That's how I feel about this stuff. It's like this ain't nothing but some this ain't nothing but some nonfiction dressed up like fiction, but it's no you can't possibly be as entertained as you would be with a piece of fiction, a good piece of fiction. And so the reason I have an issue with that is because I think it adds on to the literacy problems that we have with this generation, because it's like y'all are making them read boring stuff. Like, ding, hello. If you're making them read, first of all, some schools aren't making them read at all. But the ones who are making them read, like y'all are making them read boring stuff. So you, why are you surprised when they're bored? Why are you surprised when they don't want to read? And I'm trying to think. Like, I wish I had some examples. What is it that I'm trying to think? Like, if I could think back to what it was, and I was like, ugh. Oh well, you know what? Actually, it was a James McBride book. This was a good book, and I wanted to read more of his catalog, and that was a good book. They had him read The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. That was a good book. I felt like it was kind of rough for my son, but only because at that point he hadn't really been reading a lot of books. So it wasn't that one, cuz that was a good book. But it was every year he would get a list of books, and I would be like, "Yo, like, not only are these not necessarily books I've heard of, but they're fairly contemporary, and they're all based on a historical event. That's not literature. That's not lit. That's It might be historical fiction, but like I said, literature does something different. It moves you. It makes you imagine, a world that's not ours. Okay? And so it does something to a child's mind where it helps them to imagine possibilities in ways that, well, yeah, in ways that are different from what, movies and TV they watch. Because it's like when you're reading, you're exercising every part of the brain. Literally, like you're doing almost everything a brain can do, you're doing it while you're reading. So And it's just a very, very stark difference from um, the education that I received. And I understand that, but I didn't expect it to be so stark. I expected them to read Shakespeare. He read a Shakespeare. He read like a Shakespeare or two. But I read Toni Morrison, I read Ralph Ellison, I read Isabel Allende, I read Stephen King. This is all in high school. I read Things Fall Apart. We read some stuff that I never ever forgot. I read The Dutchman in high school. Like, and I know that I had a different thing going on in my like high school experience. But I'm just saying, like, meet me in the middle somewhere. Meet me in the stall me out. Put me some. I really don't know what stall me out means, but I'm gonna keep using it. Oh, next question. I just be blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm backtrack to the last question. The last question was nonfiction. That is what I think that we should talk more about. It deserves more attention in Black literature. What genres do you think deserve more attention in Black literature? And it's out there, like the nonfiction is out there, but does it deserve more attention? I took that to mean like we collectively need to pay more attention to the nonfiction. So obviously, that whole thing about the schools was a rant because they pay too much attention to nonfiction in the schools, but like in the culture, in the zeitgeist, book talk, booktube, um, just in book culture, I wish that we would kind of like lean in more to nonfiction because obviously we love fiction, we love the stories, but nonfiction kind of helps us concrete what does it mean to you, what does it mean to me, what does it mean to us, where do we go wrong? Like there's a lot of things that can be interrogated when you're dealing with nonfiction that are way more abstract when you're dealing with fiction. So if I if I have more thoughts about that, I will bring it up again in a future video. Sorry. That's why I be chopping these up because but I need I need, to work on my long form. Okay, so this one is an easy one. I only have one answer for this. Which Black literary character lives rent free in your head? So I love, Black literary characters. Sure, sure. But there's one that like he got his socks on the radiator in my head right now. Okay? Rent free. When I tell you I be having discussions with Easy Rollins, full blown discussions. He lives in my head. I love Easy Rollins. And I mean, I don't think it was necessarily cemented with the movie, but the movie was a great movie. He is Denzel in my head. Um, and I be working on Mouse in my head because Mouse is a light skinned character. Um, and maybe like a Terrence Howard, but I can't put him on Terrence Howard because Don Cheadle played Mouse in the movies. Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle, they be going for the same roles, don't they? Anyway, Don Cheadle played Mouse in the movie, and that's not how Mouse looks like. That's not how Mouse looks in real life in the books because it's not real life. But yeah, Easy and Mouse. Well, Easy because Easy is the personal investigator. He's a detective, and me, in my mind, I was a detective. I was a detective when I was reading Encyclopedia Brown. Ooh, let's figure this out. Let's figure out this mystery. And then I moved on to Nancy Drew, and I was like, yes, okay, now I'm a lady, figuring out the things. And then Easy Rollins was like, okay, here we go. This is what I want to read. I want to read this black man solving mysteries and solving puzzles and helping people in his world, in Easy Rollins' world. Yeah, and when I need advice, I be asking Easy. I be asking Easy in my head, like, what would Easy Rollins do? He would figure it out. Okay, excuse me. What book best represents your community, culture, or upbringing? Okay, so hear me out. This I say the autobiography of Malcolm X because I definitely am I definitely am an a Malcolm X lover. Love Malcolm X. Love his speeches, love his writings. Oh my gosh, just enamored with what he has done and his writings and his life. Because one of my favorite things about Malcolm X that people never talk about, never talk about, is that Malcolm X changed. Okay, like when he was at the height of like his popularity. Well, actually, he did die like at the height of his popularity, but when he started like his movement, when he was speaking and condemning and preaching, he was different by the time he was murdered. In that span, he learned, he met so many people, he traveled the world, and he didn't think the same things necessarily when he passed away. So, as much as I love like all of the things that he spoke about, the injustice that he spoke about, and like all of the things that he really tried to beat into the psyche, he was trying to uplift the confidence and the the black community as a whole, you know, internally. And by the end of his life, he he was able to see that there were so many more people that agreed with him, that felt his message and believed in his message. And I think that he's shown that that was something that changed him from beginning to end. So I know a lot about Malcolm X. I need to know more. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, which black author would you love to have dinner with, living or deceased, and why? Okay. Hmm. I love. It's gonna be one of two people. That's Zora Neale Hurston or Toni Morrison. And if I had to choose one to have dinner with, living or deceased, you know, they both are such amazing influences of mine. Um, so I'm gonna just go with reading the books for now. I was can't really do this in real life, but I just really appreciated like them in such different ways. That's why it's hard to answer the question. Um, I love that Zora Neale Hurston actually had the live experience of like traveling the world and writing from those experiences. Same with Toni Morrison. Like Toni Morrison also traveled the world. And Toni Morrison also lived a whole life before she started writing. Um, I just watched a movie about Zora Neale Hurston. So Zora Neale Hurston like really started writing like kind of early, like in college, and Toni Morrison was well when she started writing her book. She was well in her later years. But yeah, it would have to be one of those two. I'm not gonna bother to pick. I'm not gonna bother to pick. I love them both. Those are my mamas right there. Okay, last one. Oh man. Okay, if a new viewer found your channel today, what three books would introduce them to your reading taste? I feel like I should have written this down, but because I feel like I had better answers. I think I definitely want to go with Devil in a Blue Dress, which is the first Easy Rollins mystery. Um, I definitely wanted to go with that one. And it's like reading tastes. Um, I'm gonna go with Their Eyes Were Watching God. That would be the second one. And then what would be a third one? I think my reading tastes are so varied. They're really out there. I mean, and I'm not special or anything. Like I know that everyone is reading some really interesting and varied selections. Well, some people are just reading the same stuff over and over. We see you too. um, part of me, I want to. Part of me wants to go with The House of the Spirits. That was a book I read in high school. It was also very impactful. I was surprised. I was like, dang, they assigned it messy books in high school. Okay. But I don't know. I feel like that'll do for now. I'm not. I'm not gonna beat myself up for it. Especially we an hour in, even though that's good. I need minutes. I need to log my minutes. Black Booktube is where it's at. That's the last one. Finish this quote. Black Booktube is where it's at because we are on here pouring out our souls. Okay. We are out here bringing you the goods and telling you what's in these books. And I feel like you need a little fairy godmother. You need a little book bestie to come through and be like, you would like this girl, or you would like this. Try this out. Try this on for size because I think that having our reading taste is where it's at. Okay, so I'm appreciative of this space because you all are telling me about books every day that I had no idea were out there. And I'm not a very big creator, but I want to tell you about the stuff that I found in these books because some of them, there's some great stuff in these books. And I sound so silly and cliched, but at a time when everything is toxic, some stuff is physically toxic, some stuff is mentally toxic, some stuff is emotionally toxic. You know, if you have a library or a collection of books that just make you feel warm and fuzzy, just makes you feel happy and remember the good times, or just make you feel something again, then I feel like you're winning. That's what I'm looking for, you know? And I'm just trying to share and help others find it as well. So that's it for today. I'm so glad I got on here because it's been a minute since I did a live. But let me tell you, editing is crazy. It's too much fucking work. Um, but yeah, happy reading.